There was always this light feeling that I was kind of playing a part that I was not being very good at. Just I am trying really, really hard to be in this space and do the things that other people are doing and mirror their behaviors and like the things that they like, and it's just not natural. I'm really forcing it.
Gender is not actually biologically innate to any of us. It is something that we're consistently performing. So my gender doesn't have anything necessarily to do with how my body is shaped, but rather how I move through the world, how I might present myself.
I went to this Catholic school, and part of the uniform was that the girls had to wear dresses and the guys had to wear shorts and pants. And it got to the point where they tried to expel me for wearing pants and a t-shirt, but eventually they let it be, and I was allowed to wear the same uniform as the guys.
Going into recess and seeing all of the girls would go into one corner and play stuff that was movement restricted, and then the boys would go onto the large field and just play soccer for the entirety of recess. It didn't have to do with your personality, you were just kind of expected to follow these groups, and I was always very confused about that.
You could face social sort of ostracization, or in many places there's the threat of actual physical harm when you're sort of sticking out from the norm or from these expectations.
When I was younger, I was diagnosed with gender dysphoria. I was about 4 at the time, but I was also the kid who would stand on restaurant tables and scream, "I want to be a boy!" So I didn't really think too much of it then, but growing up around 10 or so, people had more of this expectation of what you had to be. You had to pick a side, and I didn't really want to pick a side.
Human beings are taught to categorize, and we like to put things into boxes in order to create maybe a clear or easier picture. Any shift from the norm can feel like your world is kind of shifting. Your understanding of things as you know it are completely different.
What I felt helped was listening to other people talk about their experiences through music. And I was like, hey, if they can do that, why can't I do that? It's just always been my way of expressing myself.
I really like being able to navigate the middle point between what people perceive as feminine and masculine. So the idea of wearing makeup at the same time, I don't know, wearing a binder.
It makes community sometimes a little tough. I'm also an international student, and there's an aspect of familiarity that hanging out with people from your culture brings for you. Some of my racialized friends who are not queer, they misgender me a lot, and my queer friends get upset about this. And it's certainly I'm also upset, but I'm also past that point where I'm gonna keep making that effort.
You have to be very, very careful with the way that you present yourself and that you go about it, because it feels like you can't be too different.
A lot of the conversations that I've had with people, they're almost shocked that I look how I am and I identify as non-binary. We have a very particular image, and when you don't fit with that, then it confuses people.
I do this with people who are close to me, where if I'm entering a particularly masculine era or feminine era, I kind of let them know, and then they try to make sure that the language that they're using is validating to the gender space that I'm in.
If someone doesn't know your pronouns and they use they or something that's gender neutral, it's an acknowledgement that you might seem a certain way, but that doesn't mean that that's how you identify.
Something that brings me a lot of gender euphoria are my tattoos. It's kind of putting art on your body, and you are an ongoing exhibition, and you get to collect little pieces of memories and things that you love.
Any occasion where I can wear my suits or my tuxes, especially I just had my graduation and I graduated in my suit, and it was the greatest euphoric feeling I've ever felt.
It's mushrooms. I got mushroom rings on right now, and it's that's really it. It makes me feel queer.
It would just be to say this is me, this is who I am, and this is who I've always been.
I think I would want to be perceived as a question. Yeah, I think I like it when people are confused.
I think recently I've come to, embrace the more absurdist aspect of gender. And, in understanding that its construction is very arbitrary and has a very damaging history.
I think there's something really exciting when we talk about the possibility that gender can be all these different things. And even when I say it's a little bit slippery, we can't quite grasp onto exactly what woman or man means, or a variety of different genders. I think there's room for a lot of possibility there in enacting our own identity or just being in the world.